Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I will be doing another movie review. I know that I'm a bit late to this movie, but I think that it was a very interesting movie. I barely just watched it yesterday, and I'm here to give you my opinion on the new movie, Creed 3. If you haven't seen any of the Creed movies or don't even know about the Rocky franchise, then you might be a bit lost as to what this movie is about or why I'm doing this movie review, but I promise that I will try to explain everything as best as possible. So, the original Rocky movie came out in the 1970s. It was played by Sylvester Stallone, which he was the person behind the idea of the movie, and he fought to be the main role in the movie, which he ended up being. And that franchise was one of the most popular, if not the most popular, throughout the 70s, 80s, and even part of the 90s. So, what is Creed? Creed is the son of Rocky's biggest opponent, well, Rocky's first opponent. In the movie Rocky, Rocky Balboa goes up against Apollo Creed, and so after they fight, they become somewhat friends, and so by the fourth movie, when Apollo dies, Rocky fights the person that kills Creed, and so then you just have this story where Rocky hasn't seen a Creed in a while, and all of a sudden a new Creed pops up, and he wants to be a boxer, he wants to be a professional, and so he's taking advice from the old mentor. So it goes full circle, but sadly in this movie Rocky does not show up. If you are a Rocky fan, sorry, but you won't be seeing him in this movie. I want to give all of you just a warning because I will be spoiling this movie. I do most of my movie reviews with spoilers so that I can explain the movie a bit better. If not, it gets a bit too tough to explain and it's just a whole mess. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Creed 3 begins with Creed fighting I think it was his last titular fight. So he starts fighting and it shows just like his moves, his skills. Like he kind of like freezes time while he hits. And it's just a really good choreographed moment where they're like fighting. And so it shows like 3 years later, Creed is in retirement. He doesn't want anything to do with boxing anymore except for like coaching and stuff like that. But he won't be inside of the ring because he decided, hey, I'm done. I already won everything that I want to win. I got the money that I wanted to get, and I am already successful enough to the point where I just want to retire. And he retires for most of the movie, but then his old friend Damien comes back into his life. He just got out of prison, and he was a person that like started giving Creed like boxing advice, and so he like comes in as a old friend that just is like a starving boxer that wants to make it up to the top. And so obviously his best friend, well, his old best friend Creed is obviously one of the best boxers of all time in this universe. And so he is trying to like say like, hey, why don't you help me and stuff like that. And he even tries to manipulate situations so that he can get to boxing. He breaks one of the opponent's hands, and so he ends up being on the big stage with the current champion. He goes up against the champion and beats him. He uses a lot of illegal hits to the shoulder intentionally, and he really just tries to go with the illegal, like he even hits with his foot on one of them, but he makes it so that the ref doesn't see it, and so technically legal, but not really because you know that he cheated. And then at the end of the movie, Creed decides to take up, well, he doesn't really take up an offer, but they start to have this like beef because Creed finds out that this guy has come back, and Dame thinks that Creed is living the life that he was supposed to live, and he's just jealous of it and wants to have that life that he has. And so he just goes through a lot of things just to try to get it, and they end up fighting, and Creed ends up getting challenged by Dame. So it shows a really cool training montage that I just really love. All these boxing movies with their training montages, they're really cool, and it's what Rocky was known for at the beginning. And so they make it to the fight. Obviously, you can probably expect Creed to win, which is what happens, but you have the whole part of the movie where like it's just this whole struggle between someone that like fights dirty, and he's like the bad guy in the movie, but he's really not trying to be a bad guy. He feels like he's been wronged by a lot of things in his life. He spent most of his life in prison for protecting Creed. And so you kind of like feel bad for the villain in this movie. Jonathan Majors does a great role as Dame. You have Michael B. Jordan obviously doing an incredible role as Adonis Creed. You have amazing acting and you have amazing scenes, very heartwarming. I really like this movie. I put it really similar to the first Creed movie, which is what like my favorite Creed movie, but I think it was very good. I'd personally give this movie a 7 out of 10. I am pretty harsh when it comes to grading these types of movies, but it was a very feel-good movie, and you have a lot of intense moments and a lot of resolve for Creed to really get ahead of this new threat. And it's a threat that was like personal to him. It wasn't like just some random guy that he wants to beat just because he's a starving new boxer. No, this guy was personal, and this guy really like insulted him. At the end, they end up fine because like obviously it's a boxing match, and so at the end you see that the better man won. But they do like this really heartwarming thing where Creed just like kind of is next to him and consoles him, saying like, hey, you know, you did great, because like they're two great boxers and they're both like old now, so they're out of their prime, and for the fight that they had, it was really great. The scenes were extremely well choreographed. Like you could really feel the tension and how intense every blow was. There was a part in the final fight where you have Creed like kind of ducking to like duck a punch, and then Dame just comes up and hits him straight where it would knock out all of his oxygen. And so you have a struggling Creed to like be able to breathe and struggling to like be able to continue the fight. And then you have a Dame that thinks that he already won the fight, but no, it's far from over, and it just raises the stakes so much more. This is an amazing movie. I really liked it. I think that all of you should go watch it. Like I said, it's a 7 out of 10 for me. That's not trying to discourage the movie. It's just, I think that it had a lot of good moments, but it also had a few filler moments. I felt like a lot of the movie at the beginning was very slow, and I didn't like that. I feel like with the introduction of Dame and Creed and everything that was just going on, I feel like it was trying to tell the story a bit too out of place. Like you start with something from the past that doesn't get fully resolved, and then like it goes saying it throughout the movie, which I didn't necessarily like as much, because like you don't understand why why was Dame in prison until the very end. That is all for me today. Thank you everyone for watching. If you did enjoy the video, then you should definitely subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, comment down below what your favorite Creed movie is and what you liked about that movie or this movie specifically. I'll be answering to all your comments. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.